Hi, I feel like it's been so long since I've had a video because I've been just completely glued to Life is Strange double exposure testing. How have you been? Okay, we'll just get to it. We're going to look at all of the consequences for
The girl with the blue hair.
your Chloe choice. And it's kind of a combination of choices because there is the first one.
What's the deal with you two?
Are we high school sweethearts or are we friends? And then there's, basically Bay or Bay.
What happened?
I have personally tested double exposure at this point 28 times, recording each play and overlapping footage to make sure even the most minuscule difference has been recorded and mentioned here.
We have 5 full chapters of consequences that happen, whether you pick she died, we grew apart, or we broke up. Hefty video, so let's get going. I'm going to start by showing you all the consequences for the she died option first. That one's a little bit easier to manage because it's not separated by friends or sweethearts for the most part. So right away, when you choose she died, you will have this immediate dialogue with Max and Safi.
She died my senior year.
Oh, shit.
Nah, hey, it's cool. It was a long time ago.
You want to talk about something else?
God, yes.
Now notice here that Safi feels a little bit bad about asking at this point, and she actually offers to change the subject. Note that for later. Next, you're going to see a text from Joyce in the same scene. At this point, no texts are actually new. This is your history with Joyce. Hey, Max, remember me? It's Joyce. Oh, should I do an accent? Hey, Max, remember me? It's Joyce, Chloe's mom. I can't do it. I know it's been a little while. I was cleaning the house the other day and I found the cutest photo of you and Chloe dressed like pirates. I planned to send you a pic, but it turns out I misplaced it almost immediately. Oh, by the way, your parents told me about your award. We all knew you had it in you. Thanks, Joyce. It was pretty cool to be recognized. Happy birthday, Max. Next time you're home, there's a slice of cake with your name on it at the 2 Whales. Today's the anniversary, Max. Losing my daughter, losing Chloe. I still get lonely without her, but there's comfort knowing you're here because you cared as deeply about Chloe as I did, and you still do. I'm so sorry, Joyce. Obviously, Joyce does not know that Max had anything to do with this, but Max knows, and it's like, oh, it's heart-wrenching. Okay, next you have a text with your mom and dad, which is so funny that they share like a phone, like what, like they text together. I don't know, it's kind of weird. People, I don't know, the sharing email, sharing phone thing, I don't get it. There's one small section that's different out of this whole text for the she died choice. So right after Max says it was just a sore throat, are you sure? Have you thought about talking to somebody about what happened to Chloe? We know it was years ago, but you don't want to keep that bottled up. And then I'm fine, and that's the same after that. Okay, next, Joyce is on Crosstalk. So when you open up this Crosstalk, Max will say this.
Joyce seems like she's thriving.
Ever since I retired, living alone has been lonely. So I became a kitten foster. Welcome to the Price household. Skillet, wok, griddle, and saucepan. I love that. Vanessa, Max's mom. Sweet creatures, get ready for little surprises all over your house while you're litter box training, though. Oh, believe me, we went through that with Bongo. Oh, Bongo. I haven't had a cat since him. He was a good boy. Maybe I can convince Ryan we need to foster kittens during our retirement too.
The next consequence is a Crosstalk post from Victoria. Life is Strange fans will know that Victoria survived the storm in the original Life is Strange, as confirmed in a letter that she wrote in Life is Strange 2. So Victoria is present in double exposure no matter which one of these major choices you made.
So Victoria's messages are completely different because it depends on if the whole town was gone or if it wasn't. And so her experience, her life experience is completely different based on this choice.
If you pick she died, just note her family is present in the comments.
Photographing Montserrat Andino for Gaze magazine was a dream come true. Check out January issue for the rest of the shoot. Vic, this is so good. Did you come up with this shoot concept? I did. The waterfall was a beast to work with, but Montserrat was a great sport. And Madeline, that is Victoria's mom. Gorgeous work. If only it shoots closer to Seattle. Thanks, Mom. And I'm bringing my camera when I visit for Christmas. Okay, so now chapter 1, scene 4. After Safi died, Max is looking for her photo of Chloe. She gets kind of worried she lost it. She looks under the bed, and depending on what you chose, this picture is different. So if you pick she died in this case, you're going to get the photo of Chloe Arcadia Bay, with she's throwing up the middle finger. It's classic Chloe look, and it's a Polaroid. And you're going to see this photo be represented in many ways throughout the entire rest of the game. Now, when you look at this photo, Max is going to kind of talk about the sadness about Arcadia Bay.
All those people lived, but you died because of me. It's never fair, is it? I miss you so fucking much, Chloe. Shit.
So soon comes the time where you're cleaning up for Amanda and you're going through your memory box. And if you chose She Died, you're going to get a postcard from your mom and dad.
Can you still be welcome in a place you have no desire to go back to?
And on the back is their message.
Good to know Vanessa and Ryan still have my back. No matter what.
Maxine, Dad and I took a weekend trip down to the old town and thought you'd get a kick out of this card. We're so excited to hear about how you're settling in at Caledon. We knew you could accomplish anything you set your mind to, and it sounds like we weren't wrong. Love, Mom and Dad. Then continuing looking through the memory box, you're going to see this newspaper.
Sometimes, when I close my eyes, I still see her lying on that bathroom floor.
Former student gunned down in bathroom by Prescott prodigy. Tragic murder reveals serial killer among Blackwell staff. Chloe Price, 19, former student at Arcadia Bay's Blackwell Academy, was the fatal victim of a senseless act of violence this past week. Continuing in the memory box, you're going to get to your journal, and there are a number of pages right up front before the game really starts that focuses on different things that happen in Max's life, a lot of times with Chloe or about Chloe. So depending on what you choose here, these journal entries are going to be very different. But then later on, there are still slight changes that come up depending on this choice. So let's get through some of these first. So page 1 of the journal, October something. What's the point of keeping track? Hey, the funeral's today. I felt like the whole town came. It was a beautiful service. You would have hated it. I hated it. The storm is gone. Everybody is safe. It's like it never happened. It never happened. I started a new journal because the old one is full of lies now. I could feel the power underneath my skin. If I wanted to, I could go back and see you. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll break the world again. I'm crying again. I've played this 28 times, really? You asked me to save everything else and let you go, so that's what I did. Fuck you. I miss you. Oh, so real. Let's continue, shall we? Page 2. October 14th.
Based on the content of these entries, it appears that Max just left after Chloe died, didn't finish school, and started a new life.
Long Beach, California. Autumn smells different here. I'm sitting beneath palm trees, but I could still feel the changing of the seasons. Back at home, it's probably already cold at night. I can't imagine that here. I know LA was yours and Rachel's place. I hope you don't mind that I'm here instead, or that your mom gave me your old truck. That thing is such a piece of shit. I wonder what you guys would have done if you made it here. You deserved everything, let alone making it past your 19th birthday. It's selfish of me, but I'm glad I got you to myself for a short amount of time that I did. I'm fine being selfish. Yeah. Page 3, April 6th. So quite a while after, Max has been doing traveling to different cities, maybe with Chloe's truck, we assume. This town I'm in is so tiny, it doesn't even have a post office. It looks like one of those places you'd expect to have like the world's biggest soup spoon or whatever, but there's just one stoplight and one diner. I can see the stoplight from the diner. I used to think Arcadia Bay was so tiny. Shows you where hubris can get you. The group of college kids passing through got all excited when they saw my camera, and I ended up getting some really great shots. I gave most of the photos away, though. One of the students tried to pick me up, I think, but I pretended not to notice. You would have called me clueless, and you'd be right. Now, there isn't a page 4 related to Chloe for the She Died version. Just note that for later. And then the next time we see a difference is skipping to page 7. And there's a slight difference on the second page here. If you chose She Died, it says, talking about the dead is a mood killer. Everything else is the same except for that line.
To be clear, there are other differences with this journal entry, but those are based on another major decision. That's for another video.
So you're closing the box, you're putting everything away, and while you're doing it, it reveals 2 additional photos here.
Oh, better clean those up too.
By picking She Died, those photos are going to be of Chloe with her truck, and when Max looks at it, she'll say this.
Joyce sent me this one. She really captured you here. Saw you the way I always did.
And a photo of Victoria's book and a book signing.
Congrats, Victoria. I'm honestly proud of you. Even if you sent me this to rub it in.
You can then choose to add Arcadia Bay photos to your photo wall, and if you do that, they're going to be there in the dead world. Keep that in mind. Technically, you're in the dead timeline right now, so you haven't done anything in living. You don't even know that's an option right now. And actually, looking at these photos again, Max's thoughts will be the same as if you looked at them when you were just finding them under the memory box. So a little bit later in this scene, chapter 1, scene 4, still you're on the phone with Yasmin, and she's talking about how hard it is and wondering if you've been through something like this.
Have you ever dealt with loss like this?
And that original photo of just Chloe will show up while you're choosing what to say to her. Basically referencing like, yeah, I've been through really hard times, and this is what I'm thinking about as I'm answering this question. Thanks for asking.
Impressive amount of consequences, and that was only chapter 1.
Okay, now we're going to skip all the way to chapter 2, scene 3. You get another crosstalk post from Joyce.
You'll notice that the people Max knew in Arcadia Bay will post in both timelines. They weren't affected by Safi's death. They didn't even know her.
It's been years since my Chloe passed, but every Christmas I still laugh when I remember her poking holes in her presents for a sneak peek. Vanessa, Max's mom, says they really thought they were slick. Like we wouldn't notice all that ravaged wrapping paper. Kids do the darndest things, don't they? Thanks, Margus. Good one. She was still doing this well into her teens. Memories like these are precious, especially during the holidays. Next, we skip to chapter 3, scene 1, where Alderman kind of barges into Max's house.
Oh, fuck.
Can I come in?
In the middle of one of his crazy rants. Well, they're not really crazy. I mean, he's got kind of a point. This is a very bizarre situation and he's freaking out. Okay, let's give him some grace here. He references what he learned about Max's past, and if you chose she died, he's going to say this.
A small town with a curious number of murders. And now, Safi, Llewellyn Fayed, murdered in a small town? What are the odds?
It took me a minute to realize like who he was talking about, because I was like, no, only Chloe died because like Nathan wouldn't have, nobody else would after because they caught it. And I was like, oh, right, Rachel. But it's only 2 people in like a multiple year period. So I don't know, whatever. Next. Oh, quite literally, it's the next scene, chapter 3, scene 2, while you're going back up to the Overlook to meet Moses. We have another crosstalk post from Joyce, and Max will say this.
I get it, Joyce. Dating after everything that's happened feels impossible.
I've been in the dating scene for 2 months, and I'm ready to call it quits. Trying to find someone new to accept all of my baggage at my age is too much. I understand, Joyce. Everyone's got baggage. It's older women with baggage that seem to be the problem. I'm not for them if they want to pretend. That's a young girl's game. I considered omitting my divorce in the apps, but it changed me and I can't cover that up. I know what you mean. I want to be with somebody, but only if I can be myself. Now, skipping ahead again to chapter 3, scene 4. Max is feeling real sad in the bar. Kind of reminiscing, kind of needing support, not knowing what to do. And while she's doing that, she looks at her phone and notices Joyce and says this.
Joyce still treats me like her second daughter. Even after everything. Sometimes it feels like she pins the hope she had for Chloe on me. The least I could do is make her proud.
Good to have a motivation, and Joyce is in her corner. Same chapter again, Living or Dead timeline. We have another crosstalk post from Victoria. In high school, I knew a punk chick with the worst fashion sense, or so I thought. But now, if I could photograph anyone in the world, I'd photograph her. Maybe you could reach out to her. Thanks, Kenneth. Thank you so much, Betty. I wish I could, but she died years ago. It's literally a photo shoot of my dreams now. Your tastes have really evolved. I'd love to see something like this from you. Next scene, chapter 3, scene 5, is when Max realizes that someone broke into her house. But hey, we're just going to look at everything around our house first and, worry about that later. When you see the newspaper, same one as before on the counter, Max will say this.
First Chloe, and now Safi. It feels like everywhere I go, somebody gets hurt.
Wait, the journal. Depending on who you kissed or didn't kiss in the previous scene, you will have completely different journal entries for this page. And a small section of each of those different pages will be different depending on the status of Chloe. If Chloe died and you didn't kiss anybody, this portion of the journal will only say, "I'm not exactly built for that kind of chaos." If, however, Chloe died and you kissed only Amanda, this portion of that unique page will read like this. "After all my fucked up shit, don't I deserve a little happiness? And I feel that when I'm with her, I forget everything but us. When she's looking at me, I still can't stop thinking about her." Okay, next entry. If you only kissed Vin, this section of that page will read like this. "Okay, maybe I've thought about it. Jesus, Max, let yourself enjoy a kiss for once." I've often thought about a similar thing, but let's just move on. If Chloe died and you kissed both of them, this portion of the page will read like this. "And what's the point of worrying about it? They liked it. I really liked it. Everyone wins, and I mention it's hot." Yes, Max, this is indeed the most responsible use of your powers. 10 out of 10. No notes. Actually, Max, I have quite a few notes here, but I digress.
And to continue the search while somebody's in your house, you can go upstairs, still in the living timeline. Now, remember, you didn't have this picture out before. It was just a dead timeline where you found it under the bed. So it's sitting on your bed now, which means the, burglar person, hopefully you know who that is by now, or you shouldn't be watching this, found it and then put it out and put it on the bed. Like, whoa, weird, creepy. But anyway, it's this one that you saw of Chloe before, and Max will say this.
Fuck, Chloe. You are always the brave one.
And then in the dead timeline, you could look at the photo wall, see the same photo that you hung up there before, the mysterious person just put it on your bed. And Max will say this.
This would piss you off, Chloe. He'd be looking for some serious payback.
Okay, chapter 4, scene 1. We have another crosstalk post from Joyce. She's real busy on there. She's really figuring out the tech. "I love baking this time of year. Today's projects: pumpkin pie, cherry pie, gingerbread men, and sugar cookies. Come by and pick one up while they're still here. Hashtag mad for the dough." Oh, she is just working it. Vanessa, is that a hashtag? She's so with it. Same scene, Safi's just waiting for you to talk, about some important things that are baffling the both of you. But let's just look around at this newspaper again. And in this case, it's sitting there, and Max will say this.
I've kept plenty of secrets from Safi as well.
Now we're getting close to some of my favorite differences coming up here. But first, we have some longer dialogue. So when you're finally talking to Safi and she's wondering, you used your powers and now you're not, like, what's the deal?
What changed?
If you chose she died, Max will explain it this way.
You know that blue-haired girl? That was my fault. She died. Shot and bleeding out on the floor of our high school bathroom. All alone. All alone except for me. The one person who could have helped her. Stuck powerless behind a stall a few feet away.
Shit, Max. I saw the article in your memories box. You can't blame yourself for...
I can't. My powers created a storm. Literally, I mean. And I had a choice. Save my town or save her. I chose Arcadia Bay. I didn't try to rewind again for years. Not until I got here. When other you died, I learned that my powers had changed.
Next, we have a small journal difference again. If you look at page 17, possibly 18 if you chose something else, in the second paragraph, you're talking about, like, who would you transform into if you had shape-shifting powers? You'd get her to transform into Victoria or your mom or Principal Wells. Can you imagine Safi doing that? That would be amazing.
That concludes our consequences for chapters 2 through 4. But just wait, my favorite ones are coming in chapter 5.
Okay, we're in the Blackwell bathroom. Oh, this scene, man. This scene. No! While you're in there, you're going through her thoughts, and she's just like really upset about all of this. And you could just feel it, and like, oh, it's so intense.
Maybe we are cursed. Cursed to relive our worst moments over and over again.
If you chose the she died option, I mean, she's thinking that no matter what, she's gonna say this.
I had a chance to save Chloe from this bathroom, from Nathan's gun. But to do that, I had to let Arcadia Bay get destroyed in a storm. I couldn't do that. I rewound time. Gave her up to get shot a second time. Well, joke's on you, Storm.
that line. Okay, here are my favorite differences. When you're in the motel, you go through the hotel 3 times where you're able to actually look at stuff before falling on the bed, right? There are books, lockpicks, and the television that can all have differences depending on this choice. It also sometimes depends on if you picked We Were Friends or We Were Sweethearts. So I'm going to try to explain that the best I can. If you go over to the TV and you don't move from there, similar to the NBC conversations, you can actually hear television shows that are mapped into what Max is thinking, or similar to what a dream would be, to help you express your feelings, your thoughts, subconscious, issues that you have in the form of a television show. And it is so cool. I love that they did this. And there's so many differences. So in the first hotel room, if you pick She Died, you're going to get a medical drama. And listen to it.
Thank you for coming down to the station, Miss Proust. I'm Dr. Maple, the medical examiner. We know this is hard, but can you confirm that this is your daughter, Zoe?
It looks like her, but Zoe is blonde, not...
Appears she dyed her hair purple a few days before she was shot.
Now, right here, just turn and pivot a little bit to the lockpick. In that first hotel room, the lockpick will say this if you pick She Died.
Chloe's lockpicking set feels like her way of looking out for me, even when she's gone.
And then the book on the nightstand will be Gut Shot, and then Max will say this.
Gut shot? Just, like, who put this here?
Now, going into the second hotel room, now there's a different thing that you can also look at that has differences, the hot plate. So picking She Died, when you look at the hot plate in the second hotel room, Max will think this.
Much as I could use a hot meal, I think I'll stick with cold cuts.
Now go over to that TV, and this is a real short one, and it's really creepy. I don't know if it's like a motivational TV show or a church TV show or something like that, but oof.
Grief is a bit like the tide. It comes in waves. And it will drown you if you let it.
Looking at the lockpick in the second hotel room, Max will think this.
If Chloe could see me now, breaking into bowling alleys and whatnot.
And then the book on the nightstand will be called Blameless, and Max will think this.
Blameless. God, I wish that were me.
Now, in the third hotel room, there's less to look at. The TV itself has the same, dialogue that's like mixed voices. I actually parsed them out a little bit to see what they sounded like, and it's just a bunch of mixed voices that appear to be the same in each of the versions. But the lockpick is actually different depending on if you chose We Were Just Friends or We Were High School Sweethearts. So technically, if you pick She Died, you could get both of these options depending on if you're friends or sweethearts. If you were just friends,
you'd be proud of me, Chloe. The things I've learned, I'm proud of me.
And if you were high school sweethearts.
Never did get used to sleeping alone.
Now, this is really interesting because, again, Max is getting like enmeshed in this dream world, right? In this tuning out and this dissociation of the problem and just completely like meshing in with the dream world, forgetting about what's going on.
This painting actually feels like dreamland.
So it doesn't break it down based on if she died or if you broke up or anything. It's almost like she completely forgot that happened, and it's only like what your relationship was to Chloe that Max is thinking about. But that changes a little bit when you get to the book. If you pick She Died, it will be called The Wounds Time Can't Heal.
But what if I like the way my scars define me? Huh, Doc? What if they give me character? Let me out!
Okay, we're out of the dream world. It's the end of the game. It's chapter 5, and you're not going to get an extra text. You're just not. Just note that for later. But the very last consequence for She Died is the conversation with Moses. So at the very end, when you're about to give your big speech,
Everyone's pretty shell-shocked.
Moses will check in with you about what you're thinking.
Do you think you'll ever go back to Arcadia Bay?
Yeah. One day.
And I completely read this as Max is going to look into that part of her life. She's going to go to Arcadia Bay. She's going to look at it. It's someday. She's not ready immediately. Of course, look what just happened. But she's going to someday, right? And she's ready for that. She's almost ready for that.
And I'll be right here with my tracking spreadsheet when Max does. But for now, let's look at all the differences if Chloe was alive.
If Chloe's alive, there's going to be, a bunch of them that are, if she's alive, no matter what. And then there's going to be some that split off, depending on if you said you broke up or you grew apart.
Because there are some that depend on your relationship status, we're going to look at that immediate dialogue paired with the major choice now.
So let's say you grew apart, meaning that you were friends and Chloe is alive. So that immediate dialogue, if you chose we grew apart, it will go like this.
The girl with the blue hair. What's the deal with you two?
She's just an old friend from when I was a kid.
Must have been some friend if you still keep her picture in your wallet.
Don't use your daytime TV shrink voice on me. New subject.
No, come on. You never talk about yourself. Would it kill you to open up the teeny tiniest bit? What happened?
And by picking we were just friends, the we grew apart option will be displayed as your next major choice.
After high school, she was my road trip buddy. For a few years, anyway. But I don't know. I guess everyone processes stuff differently. And eventually, she couldn't deal with how I process stuff.
Bit of advice. If anyone offers to publish your memoir, hire a ghostwriter. You suck at this.
Ugh, can we please change the subject now?
Yes, they're processing stuff so different. It is Max's responsibility that all of this happened and that Arcadia Bay got blown apart. And also, Chloe's mom died. Like everything she knows, like her family is gone. They're going to process things differently. Okay, so the immediate dialogue, if you chose we broke up, goes like this.
The girl with the blue hair. What's the deal with you two?
Look, we were kinda high school sweethearts, okay?
High school breakup turned you into Miss Havisham?
It was a little more complicated than... Can we change the subject now?
No, come on. You never talk about yourself. Would it kill you to open up the teeny tiniest bit? What happened?
And by picking we were high school sweethearts, the we broke up option will be displayed instead as your major choice here.
I mean, we were together for kind of a long time after high school. And then we weren't. She wanted to live in the future. I was too hung up on the past. That's all you're getting.
For now.
Forever. Now change the damn subject.
Max couldn't just let it go and move on because how could you? Oh, if you were responsible for all of that, how could you just be like, I don't even know how anyone could survive that, honestly. I truly don't know how you could survive that. Chloe wanted to move forward and go into the future. Completely makes sense that she's wanting to do that too. Completely makes sense. The trauma of this experience has split them apart for now. For now, we've seen things in the game that shows that they're still connecting. So just want to say that. That's going to be my piece. This makes sense to me. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So still in the same chapter and scene, instead of a text history with Joyce, you're going to get that with Chloe. Now, the beginning of it is going to be the same whether you were friends or high school sweethearts, but there's a part in the middle that changes. So first, if Chloe was alive, it goes like this. Okay, so everyone who said Chicago winters were unbearable, they were grossly underestimating my ancestors are freezing. I don't know, I kind of like it. It's literally so cold, it's impossible to think about anything else. All my problems don't magically disappear, they're just replaced by a more immediate and brutal one. It's refreshing. Plus, my lord. How do you pronounce that? Tell me in the comments phonetically how to pronounce that. Chloe, nobody actually drinks Malort. It's a bit. You don't have to commit that hard to the bit. Also, you're texting me this from a hotel room with the thermostat set to the surface of Venus, right? Venus is lovely this time of year. You coming down or not? Yeah, 5 more minutes. What do you want me to order you? And don't say Merlot. Merlot. Ah! So if you were just friends and therefore chose we grew apart, it will continue like this. Hey, I snuck out early while you were asleep, but real quick, how much chocolate do you think you could eat today? Is it National Gorge Yourself on Sweets Day or something? Technically, no, but it is the day after Valentine's Day and it's all on sale, so. Shit, it's almost 10:30. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't know I had to. What happens at 10:30? Nothing. There's a Marie Colvin exhibit this week and tickets were on sale at 10. Fuck. I was going to take you as a surprise. Well, if you want to get up in time to get those tickets, I can make that happen. Max, no, I don't need you to rewind to make it all better. I'm a big girl. I can live with my mistakes. What's that supposed to mean? Oof. I didn't mean it like that, Max. Come on. I don't have to live with my mistakes because there's a place on the coast we used to call home that says otherwise. And how many times do I have to tell you that I never asked you to make that choice? I never would have asked you to do that. You're my best friend, Chloe. I know you would never ask, and I think about that decision every goddamn day. Look, I'm sorry, okay? I mean it. I don't want to hash this out over text. Me either. You still want to celebrate National Gorge Yourself on Chocolate Day with me? Yeah, bring as much as you can carry. Hey, where'd you run off to? My stomach was grumbling and I didn't want to wake you. I never stopped you before. I don't know. Maybe I'm turning a new leaf. That'll be the day. Hey, you know how I get when I'm hangry. The motel is on your card and I didn't want you to be liable. That's very thoughtful. I've been known to be pretty thoughtful from time to time. Chloe, I think your phone has been hacked. Blink twice if you're in trouble. Hey, it's true. Just now I was thinking of bringing you back something. Chloe, I'm not asking you to bring me back something. Okay, and this is where it skips back over to being the same. So I'm going to skip to the we broke up now. So right after the emoji, it starts the differences. Hey, so I woke up a little early and I'm down at this cute little coffee shop and I was thinking, what if we just lived here, Chloe, in Andersonville? It's like the queer Chicago neighborhood and we could, stay. By stay, you mean for a few months, a year? No, I mean permanently. Max, are you asking me to move in with you for good on Valentine's Day? Shit, is that today? Don't act all coy on me now. Sorry, I really didn't know. This wasn't some grand romantic gesture or anything. I just like it here with you. I don't know. It feels so final. Yeah, but final in a good way though, right? Chloe, you there? Let me ask you something, Max, and please think about this from my POV, okay? Okay. If I say no, will you just rewind time again and again until I say yes? Chloe, I would never. How could you even ask me that? Max, never is a hard thing to promise. No, never is forever. Look, I don't want to do this over text, all right? I'll see you when I get back. Yeah, sure. It might be a little while though. Yeah, I understand. Hey, where'd you run off to? Sorry, you look so peaceful. I didn't want to wake you. Never stopped you before. I don't know. Maybe I'm turning a new leaf. That'll be the day. This is similar to the we grew apart, but then it skips a little bit. As cramped and rancid as that motel is, I'm surprised you aren't getting some fresh air too. No, the sheets smell like you. I could lie in bed all day. Okay, 1, you are so fucking corny. You know you love it. And 2, it sounds like you're asking me to bring you back something. Chloe, I am not asking you to bring me back something. Okay, so this is the same just if Chloe's alive. I know how you ask for things, Max. Well, since you asked, why don't you wow me? Bring me whatever delicacies St. Louis has to offer. Gooey butter cake and ribs it is. Okay, I didn't mean, wow, that's fast. How did you pull those out of your ass like immediately? I knew you'd want me to bring you something. I Googled while you were asleep. Chloe, you really are the best. Yeah, I'm really something. Oh, and then we know right after this because she had the postcard from St. Louis and she was waiting to give it to her. Ooh. But I feel it. I get it. I understand. I totally understand. All right, that was a lot. Let's go the quickie difference from the mom and dad text. We have a small difference here. After Max says that she has a sore throat, mom and dad say, "Are you sure? Have you tried talking to somebody about the catastrophe that wiped out Arcadia Bay all those years ago?" This is so funny. It's like they see Max and she wasn't feeling well, and they're like, "Have you tried to talk about a catastrophe that wiped out the whole time?" It's like, yes, I know, that's a huge deal. It's very traumatizing. We get it. It's just like very random over text out of nowhere. There was like no context for that to happen. It cracks me up in a horrible way. Okay, now Victoria, she has a different image on her Crosstalk post. Grand Isle is the last inhabited barrier island in Louisiana. Each year, its shoreline is eroded by rising waters. Oi, are you still in Louisiana? Yes, I'm on assignment for the rest of the month. Then it's back to the gallery in Seattle. Sick, I'm flying to New Orleans next week. Stop by and I'll buy you a beer. Deal. What are you doing here? Tell you about it when I see you. Still in the same scene, chapter 1, scene 2. Instead of the crosstalk from Joyce, we have one from Chloe.
Fuck. I wish I could have seen the show, Chloe.
Anyone who calls New Orleans the Big Easy has never tried to do sound tech for a DIY show with no AC. It's hot as hell here. Girl, you are the MVP. We never could have done that show without you. Lucky for you, I worship at the altar of sick beats. Victoria responds, which is interesting. Not my usual scene, but maybe you can bring me to the next one. Oh, I can, but can you handle it, Chase? Yes. Okay, so now chapter 1, scene 4, we're again back to Max looking for the photo of Chloe under the bed. It is the selfie photo that we saw in Life is Strange 2 of Chloe and Max together. Now, this isn't different whether you were high school sweethearts or just friends. And then you can look at it on your wall, and what Max says is a little bit crushing because we love this photo.
We had a huge blow up not long after we took this. I'm glad to only remember the photo and not the fight.
It makes sense, though. It totally makes sense. And then going through the memory box. Ooh!
Leave it to my very normal brain to respond to my most recent loss by fixating on the last one.
So first there's the postcards.
One of the last things I got from Chloe. It wasn't an invitation.
And then next you have the letter from Chloe.
Even years later, this still sucks to read. You always did know how to make every word count, didn't you?
Hey, Max, I started writing this in St. Louis, hence the big fucking arch on the postcard, but I'm sending it from Tennessee because it took so long to figure out what I wanted to say. When we were teens, I thought being able to rewind time was the coolest shit in the world, and I guess it was for a while. The problem is, the more often you go back in time, the less often you're looking forward. I wanted to look forward, to move forward with you, Max, into a future we couldn't predict, and all the messiness that brings. I'm ready to cry again. How many times have I played this? Eventually, I knew, as much as it hurt, that you would never be able to do that. Not with me, at least. I love you, Max. That will always be true. I hope you find someone you no longer feel the need to rewind for. I can look forward, unafraid. Love, Chloe. We're working on it, Chloe. We're working on it. It's so real, though. It's so real. Okay. So then we see the newspaper. The newspaper is going to be about, unfortunately, Arcadia Bay this time. And Max will say this.
Almost everyone I ever knew. Gone. Just like that. All because of me.
Okay, the journal entry. Page 1 of the journal is the same whether you were friends or high school sweethearts. I don't know what day it is. I only know it's night because you're sleeping in the bed next to me. Motel blackout shades are no fucking joke. I don't know where we are. I don't even know if we went north or south. I grabbed a new journal from the souvenir shop, but when I tried to look at the calendar, it was like all the dates ran together. You told me to save your family, and now they're dead. Please don't hate me. Please don't hate me. Please don't hate me. If I wanted to just get in the driver's seat and point us to the ocean, I wonder if you would stop me. How am I going to get through this? Okay. Page 2, October 18th. Okay, Michigan in October, really fucking cold. Someone once told me that you can get hypothermia from swimming in Lake Superior, even in the summer. I don't know if that's actually true, but looking at how blue and deep it is, I believe it. And then on the next half, it changes slightly depending on if you were high school sweethearts or just friends. So if you grew apart, meaning you're friends, Max says, you said Lake Superior, more like Lake Disappointing, and then you bitched at me about your feet being cold all evening. You put on 2 of my sweaters and look like a sweater burrito. I want to inform the court that I wanted to go to SoCal, but you insisted on the Upper Peninsula. It's okay. I know that LA was going to be your and Rachel's place. I wish she was alive to be here with us. That's slightly different if you broke up. You said Lake Superior, more like Disappointing. Then you pressed your cold toes against my bare legs like a huge asshole. This is girlfriend abuse, I'm pretty sure. So instead of just talking about being cold, they're having that physical contact, which obviously is, you don't do as much as a friend, right? I wanted to go to LA, but you weren't interested. You said it's because you don't want to be a bougie Hollywood lesbian couple, but I know you were thinking about Rachel. I wish she was alive to be here with us. I wish I could have known her. Okay, now this one is the same no matter what your relationship was. So it's kind of a funny back and forth exchange they do with different pens. Max, gel pens, man. This is 10th grade. We could just talk with our mouths. Fuck no, this is dope. We came all this way to write back and forth to each other like we were passing notes in school. Okay, if this is so boring, why don't you go talk to that guy at the counter who keeps checking you out? LMAO, no. It'll be funny. He'll definitely think he's getting a 2-for-1 deal. Chloe, oh my God. We'd rock his world. I hate his beard. We'd make him shave it first. Then we'd obviously kill him in the morning. What? Why? Because you're mine, bitch. I was thinking this would be a little bit different towards the end if you were, dating or not, but it's the same. And then, remember I mentioned a page 4. There's a difference in page numbers in the She Died version, and that's because there is extra content for We Broke Up and We Grew Apart. So if it's We Grew Apart, you actually get a little bit more information on, I think. You think I haven't moved on? You're saying that I'm the one who has to let go of the past? You're the one who can't even set a foot in any of the cities you plan to go see with Rachel. It is so wrong to not want to talk about the thousands of people who died because of me. You say you don't blame me for choosing you over them, but I know you do. I'm the reason you'll never see your mom again. You keep saying I can't torture myself like this, but if I don't, who will? You say you want to travel by yourself from now on. Fine, me too. Fuck you, Chloe. Oh, and then the broke up one is like all those same feelings, but just she left me. And you could just feel every pen mark, you could just feel it. Turtles! We have a slight difference on page 8 now, because now that you have that extra page number, all your, I don't know why I get too into the weeds here. You know what I'm saying. There's an extra page number, so it's going to be different between She Died and the others. But the difference here is this one small little line. If Chloe's alive, it'll say, I wasn't up to explaining how I leveled my hometown. All right. Now out of that, you're putting the memory box away, and as you move it, you reveal 2 photos.
Oh, better clean those up too.
And this time you're going to see a photo of Joyce and a photo of Banff. In Canada, looking at the Joyce photo, Max will say this.
Oh, Joyce. We lost you in the storm. Chloe never really looked at me the same after she found out.
And looking at the Banff photo, Max will say this.
Born and raised in the Pacific Northwest, but never made it to Canada till Chloe took me. Banff National Park did not disappoint.
These photos will show up in various places as you're, actually cleaning them up. And then if you choose to put them on your photo wall, add the Arcadia Bay photos to it, they'll show up there as well throughout. If you actually look at them again on your photo wall, it's going to be same dialogue as it was when you looked at them when they were revealed under the memory box. Okay, chapter 1, scene 4. I'm still like red and cry.
Have you ever dealt with loss like this?
This time when you're talking to Yasmin on the phone, you're going to be thinking about that selfie pic of the both of you on your wall as you're talking about pain that you've gone through.
Well, that wraps up our consequences for chapter 1 only for We Grew Apart and We Broke Up. Should I be tracking a cry counter for these videos? It seems logical to start doing such a thing.
Chapter 2, scene 3. We're getting away from some of the sad stuff for a little while anyway. Oh no, we're not. This is totally sad still. Okay, Chloe will do a crosstalk post here. I've been to Prague, Vancouver, Buffalo, but my best memories of snow were back in Arcadia Bay during the holidays with my family. Victoria, I understand how you feel. I barely have any old photographs of our holidays together. The storm took those too. Oh, that's true. Like, everything's gone. Everything's gone. I wanted to get the fuck out of that place so bad, and now I wish I had a home to go back to. The shitty irony doesn't escape me. I thought I was done crying. I played this before. I should know this. So bad. Chapter 3, scene 1.
Can I come in?
Alderman, This is not the time. But when he's doing his rant, he's going to talk about Arcadia Bay disaster rather than people mysteriously dying.
A whole town wiped out by a freak storm.
Now we're getting into the not sad stuff, depending on how you think about it. This could be sad, actually, too. Chapter 3, Scene 2, Chloe will do a crosstalk about her flirt game. My go-to flirt game is simple. 1, compare hand sizes. Hands are hot. 2, hold hands. 3, hand holding plus dancing equals grinding. So, like, just picture that. You're holding hands and you're dancing, and now you're grinding. Like, you need to be holding bodies, probably. I'm just having a hard time picturing that one, Chloe.
Well, I have no personal experience with grinding. I think the mistake here is that we're thinking about holding hands front to front instead of back to front or back to back. Or maybe it works either way. I don't know, but I can picture it quite clear working out.
Echo, bitch, ain't nobody falling for that. I think it's cute. It's them tattoos because you really don't know what you're doing out there, Cher. Obvi, not everyone agrees with you. Skipping forward, chapter 3, scene 4, Max is feeling lonely before she was thinking about Joyce on her phone and support and everything. But this time, she's thinking about Chloe because Chloe's still alive. And Max will think this.
Chloe's probably partying. She'd pick up from me. But it's not up to her to take care of me anymore.
What's really interesting here is that she says she knows Chloe will pick up. So she knows there's still a deep connection between them. It's just they're figuring themselves out separately right now. And I think that's great. In this scene, Max can or cannot figure out herself in many ways, which she'll say. Another video. In the same chapter, Victoria will send a Crosstalk post. This time she's not talking about the dream photo shoot with Chloe because she could still have that, right? But she's talking about her BFF Courtney? Really? Were you best friends?
We'll get some towels. We'll be right back. So move your ass before I dry.
Were you, Courtney?
Of course, Victoria. I'll get the tests and papers to you this afternoon.
Taylor, sure. Courtney?
That's Courtney. She's such a slave to Taylor and Victoria.
Okay. Happy birthday, Courtney, my BFF and fellow label whore. You're not with us anymore, but I'll never forget you. God, so sorry for your loss. It's cool you still celebrate her birthday. You must have been really good friends. I think there's some guilt here, Victoria, for the way you treated Courtney.
I'm not perfect, okay?
Okay, it's chapter 3, scene 5, and let's look at that journal right away, because there are many, many page differences here. If you remember, there are 4 possible pages you can get depending on who you kissed or didn't kiss. But now that Chloe's alive and there's a relationship status at play, there will be double the differences. If you kissed nobody in the previous scene, the entire first page will remain the same as she died. But if you and Chloe grew apart, there will be a new last paragraph. To be honest, Chloe, it's refreshing that this is the sort of problem my powers have created for once. I'll take it. Yes, I can see that would be quite the change. Now, if you and Chloe broke up, that section will say this instead. As you know, Chloe, I wasn't even able to hold on to one person I cared about in one timeline. Sad. If you and Chloe were just friends and you only kissed Amanda, notice this new paragraph will be here. I know, Chloe, I know. Maybe I'm setting myself up for disappointment down the road. Even if I am, though. Is she referring to liking the kiss with Amanda? That might be it. But if you and Chloe broke up and you only kissed Amanda, that section will say this instead. Sure, I thought the same thing about us once, didn't I, Chloe? That we were perfect? Even still, though. Once again, trailing off in her thoughts, what could she be thinking about? Now, if you only kissed Vin, everything on the first page is exactly the same. But on the second page, there's a new addition. If you and Chloe grew apart, that's what you'd tell me, isn't it, Chloe? Live a little, live a lot even. Some say I should take that advice as well. If you and Chloe instead broke up, this section will say, it's hard to imagine what you'd say, Chloe. What with all Vin being the first guy I kissed in forever and all. Oh, that's new information. And now, if you kissed both, Amanda and Vin, the whole first page will remain the same if she died versus if she was alive, but there will be a new paragraph on the second page. If you grew apart, that will read, since you're not here to say yay or nay, Chloe, I must to accept that you would have been cool with it too. But if you and Chloe broke up, it will say this instead. For what it's worth, Chloe, when we were together, I never once used my powers like this. No harm now that I'm single, though, right? Max, I could provide you a whole list of pros and cons if that would be desired. For now, though, I suppose we should move on to the rest of the differences in this chapter.
They're still here?
During the break-in situation, again, just take your time and look at everything first. The intruder's not going anywhere. But the newspaper on the counter will, of course, be Climate Strange instead of the one about Chloe, and Max will think this.
I don't need an article. I see the wreckage every time I close my eyes.
And still in the living timeline, since you haven't put that on the photo board, the photo will be on your bed, which again is creepy because the intruder found it and put it there. And it's going to be the selfie of the two of you, and Max will think this.
God, I wish you were here, Chloe. I could use some of your courage.
Then in the dead timeline, it will be back on the board, and the dialogue is actually the same whether she died or she's alive, but obviously the photos are different.
This would piss you off, Chloe. He'd be looking for some serious payback.
The next day, the intruder's been discovered, and you are, taking your sweet time to talk about it with said intruder. You will get this crosstalk post from Chloe. Blah, blah, blah. That's how we're going to pronounce that. There are 1 billion lights up in New Orleans right now. It's gorgeous and giving my hangover a headache. It goes all the way down to the Mississippi River. Cool as shit. We still got that gig lined up for later. You were supposed to call them. Oh no. The newspaper's still on the counter. It will be Climate Strange, of course. The dialogue will be the same whether she's alive or dead, but obviously the paper's different.
I've kept plenty of secrets from Safi as well.
Now, coming into the dialogue scene with Safi, when she's asking you, why aren't you using your powers anymore? You're obviously now talking about more Arcadia Bay and the situation there, and it'll go like this.
You know how I don't talk about where I'm from? Well, where I'm from is gone. Because of me.
I saw an article about Arcadia Bay in your memories box. That was a freak storm.
I was the freak, and I was the storm. My powers went haywire, and I had a choice. Save the town, or save the girl that I chose her. The blue-haired girl. Hearing her, seeing her get shot in a dirty high school bathroom. I couldn't live with that. So I undid it. And a whole town died. I didn't dare use my powers again. Not till I got here.
The next chapter during the Krampus party, you will have a new journal entry that talks about what happened the day before. And instead of reminiscing about the people that you knew from school, this time Max says this. You get her to transform into the strangest, funniest, most memorable people we met on the road. So because they went on that road trip together, they have all these other people that they know together. So that's interesting there.
We're finally at the last chapter of Consequences if Chloe was still alive. And in this chapter, you'll find a lot more differences based on your relationship status. I'm very excited about these.
Now, chapter 5, you're in Blackwell. You're like, screw this. But this time you're talking about your choice to save Chloe.
I had a chance to save Chloe from this bathroom, from Nathan's gun. And I did. And dozens of people died instead. To my storm. Well, joke's on you, Storm.
Okay, my favorite ones were in the hotel room. So in the hotel rooms, the audio on the TV is usually different whether you grew apart or broke up. So there's a lot more here with this one. If you grew apart, meaning you were friends, she's still alive. I keep saying that, but just in case. It is a reality competition cooking show.
And our next contestants on Fire It Up. Best friends, Monique and Alicia. What's your story?
Thanks, Don. Yeah, Monique and I were roommates first. Then we learned we both loved to cook. There's literally no one I'd rather have in the kitchen with me than Alicia. Oh, big same. In fact, the other chefs may as well take their aprons and go home. We got this.
So cute. And if you look at the lockpick for Grew Apart, you'll get this little nugget.
Chloe let me keep her lockpicking set. Still feels like we're partners in crime.
Now, the book is the same whether you broke up or grew apart. It's called The Enemies We Made Along the Way, and Max will say this.
Chloe and I aren't enemies. She just doesn't want to talk to me anymore.
Now let's reverse into We Broke Up from here. So the book's the same. The TV show is going to be different. In this one, there are two people dating, and one of them is a serial killer.
Wait, Pam, it was you? You're the Coronado Carver? When we moved in together, you met my parents. We got a dog. And you still didn't see it. So oblivious to what I wanted, what I needed. Is it any wonder why I want to cut you out of my life?
And this one, you might be like, whoa, but you have to remember this is a nightmare. It's taking symbols or feelings that you have in your life and your subconscious and then creating a story about it that isn't exactly what you experienced, but it's like, oh, these feelings also equal this situation. And like, that's what your dreams do. I love dream analysis. But the lockpick is a little bit nicer.
Chloe's lockpicking set. She could even get me to open up.
Okay, in Motel 2, if you look at the hot plate, you're going to learn a little something about Chloe.
Don't know how she did it, but Chloe was like top chef drifter on one of these in our motel stays.
She's getting those cooking skills from Joyce, working it with the hot plate. Okay, so the TV show, If You Grew Apart, is going to be sitcom punchy music in the background, but they're two friends that are like not in a good situation.
We had a pact, Rebecca. Cali to New York, coast to coast road trip. You can't bail now.
Can't I? This was supposed to be fun, Allie, but there's too many secrets. Too many things I can't get past.
Can't you give us till, I don't know, Philly? Our friendship can't end in the middle of Missouri.
I'm sorry, but better amicably in Missouri than full of hate in the city of brotherly love, yeah?
And the lockpick for Grew Apart goes like this.
Chloe liked motels. Most of them still used keys, not key cards.
And again, the book is the same whether you grew apart or broke up, and it's called Lose My Number. And Max will say this.
Lose my number. Trust me, Chloe. I've tried.
Backing up again into We Broke Up, the TV show here is going to be different. It's a really simple weather report.
Gray sky is going to persist a little longer this week, but spring isn't canceled yet. Clear skies are coming, so just hang in there a little longer.
But again, the lockpick is kind of sweet.
Chloe used to tell people my abandoned spaces photo shoots were just an excuse to be alone with her. She wasn't wrong.
Okay, so Hotel Room 3. The book is the same whether you grew apart or broke up, per usual. It's called The Rear View Method, Remembering the Past While Moving Forward.
Problem is, Simon, I haven't just been remembering the past. I've been living in it. Even in my dreams.
There's no TV show for the, well, there is, but it's just like the interchange of voices, like we talked about in the She Died. And the lockpick, again, it doesn't matter which major choice you picked. It's based on if you were friends or high school sweethearts. So I played that earlier, so it's the same. When the nightmare's over and you're going into the North Quad, you're going to get a text from Chloe. A new text from Chloe? A new one? A new text? Yo, Max, I get it if I'm the last person you wanted to hear from. Saw the news about the storm, and I hope you're all right.
She knows me better than anyone. Knew me better than anyone. The me now, though, after all this, maybe it's time I found out who that Max is.
It's a good start. It's a good start. And then at the very end, when you're talking to Moses, you're wrapping everything up. If you pick She Died, remember he wonders if you're going back to Arcadia Bay, but this time he's wondering if you're gonna, maybe.
What about the blue hair girl, Chloe? Are you ready to stop hiding from her?
I think so. Not yet, but...
You got that text. You're thinking about Chloe consistently. You know this is a big part of your life. Max has now come out and seen that she can like process and talk and connect to people and be okay. And so now she has to figure out like, what does that mean for my life now? Who am I now in this new stability? And I feel like then she'll be ready to connect with people from her past, including Chloe. So when we see the Max Caulfield will be back, I hope that actually happens because I really want to see where the story continues. I'm really invested in Max's character and her development and how she grows and changes. So I'll see you on the next Choice and Consequence video, whatever one that one is. It's showing up on the side. Maybe this side. I don't know. We'll see where I decide to put it, depending on where my head is. But I'll see you there.